This was a godsend to us, an absolute godsend.
Does anybody know this story?
No, not really, only Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob McLeod.
Yes.
Dick and Bob have never met before, but there's something Dick has wanted to tell Bob for 4 decades. But why this greeting of strangers in the South Atlantic? Let's go back in time. It's May 29th, 1982. Two para have just fought a gruesome battle to take Goose Green, freeing over 100 villagers held captive in a hall by the Argentinians for almost 7 weeks. 18 men were lost in the fight. Back home, families of two para have heard nothing from their soldiers since they set sail. They have no means of contacting them and no idea if they're alive, injured or lost in battle.
There we were, walking down the settlement's main street, if you can call it that, with all this...
Alan was the forward observation officer of D Company, two para.
And all the rest of it. And I noticed to my left a amateur radio operator's antenna.
The Yagi?
It's called a Yagi, that's right, like a big TV aerial. And I thought, well, that's got to be an amateur radio ops. Knocked on the door. Hello? Is anybody there? And the head showed round from the kitchen, I think. And he said, hello, is there by any chance you were a radio amateur? And he went, yes. I said, oh, I thought, great. Is there any chance of getting messages up to our families in the UK? And he said, oh, I wish I could. The Argentinians took my transmitter and smashed it up.
Alan had stumbled upon Bob, who wasn't just any old radio enthusiast, but the man who got news out to the world that the Falklands had been invaded, and in doing so, drawn attention from the enemy.
When the Argentinians came to Goose Green, the first thing they done was landed, come to our place, and confiscated my equipment. Then I was silent from then on.
We'd started to turn round, and his wife popped round the corner. He says, what about hooking your 50-watt amplifier you hid under the stairs years ago? Which the Argentinians never found, did they? Big smile. And he said, yes.
As a forward observation officer, Alan had his military Klansman radio, state-of-the-art at the time. But at only 20 watts, it was very much for communicating over short distances. There was no way it would reach 8,000 miles to make contact with the UK.
Would it be possible in that case, Bob, to hook up my 20-watt with your 50-watt? Would that be enough power to reach UK? Whoopee! Give me an hour. I'm going to build this dipole up, which is like a washing line, basically. And I said to him, give me an hour, Bob. I'm going to get some of these phone numbers. And the first thing I did is my own lads, John, Ginner.
For this to work, they needed to make contact with someone in the UK who could ring round one by one and pass the messages home. Enter Oxfordshire-based radio enthusiast John Wright.
My name is John Wright and I'm a radio amateur.
VP8 Lima, VP8 LP.
John's an old friend of Bob's. They've been chatting over the airwaves for years.
VP8 LP, this frequency in use. Anyone using this frequency? We've got contact with John. Can you hear it on there?
Because I was anxious about security and other people listening in and the possibility that somebody might overhear, I arranged with Bob that we would talk on different frequencies. I said, write down your telephone number, and then right above that telephone number, the numbers 0 to 9, and we would just do a simple translation of the figures. So I actually didn't transmit on the same frequency as Bob. Anybody listening would only hear half the conversation.
Word got around, and soon it wasn't just D Company's families Bob and John were contacting. A queue formed outside Bob's front door. The message was always the same. I am safe.
I have a message from Danny.
We always think of who we've left behind at home, but how do you get a message to them when you haven't got a computer, you haven't got a mobile phone, you haven't got any other means of communication?
I tried every number I had got until I had an answer. When I was talking to Alan only a few weeks ago, I said, in the comment after your phone number, it said it was Jack I spoke to, who was your father. And he says, yes. And he exasperated and sounded to me as though he'd almost burst out in tears.
John never gave his name.
I have a message from the Falklands.
Some have tried to contact him since to say thank you, but he's preferred to stay quiet until now.
Normally, amateur radio enthusiasts talk about their radio equipment and experiments they're doing.
Golf 5 Echo Papa Charlie.
In this case, the communication was to pass family traffic, which under normal circumstances isn't allowed, but I threw caution to the wind and did what I could as quickly and as clandestinely as possible.
I can't stress enough how much we appreciated your help. For us, you were the guy, you were our link with home. It took a lot of worry off the shoulders of the families that were contacted through you and your contact, John, and back in the UK. So very, very grateful for that.
With modern communications, it's taken us 40 years to rekindle that.
Exactly.
In all, Bob and John contacted over 50 families, delivering the simple yet essential message, I am safe. Hannah King, Forces News.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.